am psyched because it is time for my exclusive interview with the band's Justin Fornof. So, Justin, welcome to Knotfest Daily.
Thank you guys for having us. It's a very cool experience to be able to do this.
Oh no, we're absolutely psyched. So, thank you so much for joining me. Now, how are you doing over there? Tell me a little bit about your day. You must be pumped. Brand new song and video out there.
Yeah, real excited. Real excited. We've been waiting for this one to come out since we wrote the record. This is one of our most interesting tracks, I would say, on this one. A little bit of a curveball for those that have heard the other singles. So excited to see the reactions.
Well, people in the chat were already saying, love this tune, sounds very 90s, this song is excellent. So, just basing it off of the Knotfest Twitch fans, they're digging it. And you mentioned a bit of a curveball there. When I was checking out the band and just listening a ton before, very heavy compared to this song. And I love the difference. I mean, the other singles are great, this one's great in its own right. So, is this kind of just foreshadowing the album? It's a bit all over the place in terms of sound, which is great.
Well, we have a lot of different influences. I think one of my favorite things, especially from the '90s, was that bands that played heavy music would sometimes kind of have a little bit of a detour on their record where they'd write a song that was um, a little bit more accessible as far as the way it was written. And I think that this song, in a lot of ways, is that track. And it's cool that we were able to do it as a single because I think there was a little bit of hesitancy when it came to like putting out a song that wasn't necessarily heavy, but I think it's a cool thing that not enough bands do. So not enough heavy bands, at least.
Right. And I mean, with Replica of a Strange Love on the horizon, at this point, we are so close to it coming out. Do you still get nerves prior to releasing new music or a record, or at this point, it's just all excitement? You're counting down the days?
I'm all nerves for the most part when it comes to stuff like this.
Really?
But I think the way records release and the way singles release, uh, it kind of is what it is. So I think there's always expectations and there's stuff that you want out of songs coming out, but what you get is what you get, and expecting too much is kind of disappointing. But it's hard not to. So yeah, I'm there.
Of course, you want to be the biggest champion behind your own music, and fingers crossed all the time going into it. But like I mentioned, just judging from the comments I've seen online to premiering it on here, people are really digging the track. And just speaking to the song, which at first listen I liked immediately, this has such a similar vibe in terms of the first, The Summer's Sorrow. So, what kind of made you want to create a part two?
Well, when we were pre-proing this track, we ended up going out to Kentucky, and the record was produced by Isaac Hale from Knocked Loose, and he really liked that track. And so our guitarist Tyler had kind of brought it up that maybe we could do something like that, and he loved that idea, and we loved that idea. Um, this is a song that their first This Summer Sorrow was a song that we would play every night and finish our set with as kind of an outro esque closer thing. And so this one kind of breathes as a spiritual development of that track. It's not the same. Like there's not any kind of real parallels between the two as far as themes go. I think the spirit of the first track is in this one though, and I tried to make it to where, just like every good sequel, there is a little bit of a callback to the first one, and that's how the end of this track kind of is. So,
A little bit of a nuance, but again, it's different enough to stand on its own right.
right, right.
I'd love to know a little bit more about the aspect of the title, just growing old in the waiting place. Did a specific moment spark that title, or where did that kind of come from?
So that title, interestingly enough, I mean, I came up with that actually years ago and was waiting for the right place to put it. The waiting place is a reference to a Dr. Seuss book, and it's
Oh,
this
really?
like purgatory esque place that people go to wait for things. And so the song is essentially about just that. It's about being stuck in
Limbo?
some sort of uh, limbo purgatory where you're always waiting for a thing that never comes. And so that's essentially what the track's about as well. It's very a very hollowed husk of a kind of um, concept when it comes to how you feel while you're uh, unable to achieve things. So that's what it's all about, I think.
I love that little Dr. Seuss tidbit. I would have had no idea.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's one of those things, and that happens a lot on this record. I grew up really liking a lot of the more cartoony aspects of kind of childhood entertainment, Willy Wonka and Dr. Seuss. So I like being able to put stuff like that into records that are much darker and seeing who can really find it. I think that there are a lot of dark elements to stuff like that that are very relevant into adulthood, and so it's in the record. There's also a Willy Wonka record or reference in the record too. So if you
Ooh,
can find that
okay.
one, if you can find that one as well, it's not an obvious one, but if you can find it, it's there.
I feel like we have a little Easter egg planted now. I'm gonna have to listen
Oh yeah,
to it in full and figure it out.
oh yeah.
Um,
The record is all about Easter eggs. That there's quite
amazing.
a bit of cryptic kind of stuff written into the record. Lots of lots of numerology, lots of philosophy. It's definitely a lot deeper than it probably would be at first glance.
I know during this pandemic, the record was truly a cathartic process for you when it just came to the songwriting aspect. So, what were some other vices for you just to keep your boredom at bay and to kind of keep sane through all of this?
Uh, just music and movies, really. That this is
Okay,
basically all I've done the last year, to be honest with you.
nice.
You know, when I really look back on this year, on this past year, I'm not sure I'll really remember any of it. It all feels like some sort of fever dream esque nightmare, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
Like,
I
I don't
feel
know. I
that.
don't know. I remember anything that happened in the last year. I know that we wrote this record, and I know I wrote lyrics to this record in isolation for about 3 months, and that's about it. And we recorded those music videos. That's what I did, I think.
Well, at least if you forget everything, this record's living proof that something happened in that year and a half.
Right, right. And I think that that's kind of one of the most important aspects of the record that's coming out here is that it is essentially what will probably be considered a period piece. You know what I mean? It's something that won't really be able to be replicated ever again because it was created under such specific circumstances that there's no way that this record could be created in 2 years or could have been created 2 years ago. It only could have been created now, and I think it stands the testament of that.
Right, that's definitely the beauty of it. And one thing I wanted to bring up with you, and in fact, the last thing that we're going to talk about today, is I couldn't help but notice that you have some really sweet tattoos, especially in some of the brand new promo photographs that were shared. In my opinion, the coolest ones are those Nine Inch Nail ones you have with the
Yeah.
Gave Up lyrics. Those are dope. So, what was the last tattoo that you actually had done?
The last stuff I had done is I had my the center of my neck webbed here, all my spider webs in the center, all the newest stuff I have. But all the stuff on my neck, for the most part, is stuff that I've done in between our last Wristmeetrazor tour before the pandemic and now. So all of this is pretty new. But yeah, my Nine Inch Nails tattoos are my favorite for sure. So
And just add on to that, what did you say was more painful? I know you have the piece on your arm, or was it the neck one?
what's that? What'd you say?
Which was more painful in terms of getting tattooed, the neck piece or the one on your arm that took hours and hours?
Definitely the neck ones.
Okay.
You know, it's interesting because I don't really think about it in terms of pain at this point because I've gotten so many of them and they all kind of have a general similar expectation going in that it's going to hurt. But I would say right on the center of my esophagus has probably been the worst that I've done in a while. So I would
Okay.
say that.
Well, luckily the pain is over. You got something badass on you for life. And I just want to say thank you so, so much for hopping on here today, discussing the new record, everything that's going on. It's been a treat being able to learn more. So thank you a ton.
Absolutely. Thank you.